headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
Hello, mate.
I mean, you and I have seen some pretty shocking things in our time, but this is absolutely appalling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's disgusting. And we do have a strange system in this country where the police essentially subcontract animal cruelty cases to the RSPCA. So it is the case that the police do not get involved in incidents and alleged criminal animal cruelty. It's always the RSPCA. And this is not the first time that the RSPCA has been rather reticent to deal with an obvious case of extreme cruelty. And I completely agree with you, Mike. I've just put it out on Twitter that if the RSPCA actually does care about cruelty to animals, it needs to announce as a matter of urgency that it is criminally investigating Kurt Zouma for this appalling incident of cruelty to a cat. It needs to do that right now because so far its response has been pathetically inadequate.
It really has. West Ham, meanwhile, a Premier League football club full of millionaires, full of people with a great deal of influence over many, many other people, especially young people, have said this. West Ham United unreservedly condemns the actions of our player Kurt Zouma in the video that has circulated. We have spoken to Kurt and will be dealing with this matter internally, but we would like to make it clear that we in no way condone cruelty towards animals. Well, that's all right then. I don't think this is a matter that can be dealt with internally. I think this man should be kicked out of the Premier League, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I don't think... well, I've got bad news for West Ham. You will not be dealing with this incident internally. It will go to criminal proceedings.
Yeah.
It absolutely has to. It's reminiscent of that awful woman from the Pony Club last year punching and kicking that horse.
Yeah.
The initial response was, forget about it. She ended up with a criminal conviction.
Yeah.
She lost her job. She lost her status. She lost a great deal. And, I don't like calling for people's lives to be ruined, but there should be consequences when people treat animals like this. And Kurt Zouma deserves extremely serious consequences. Now, we've got Mason Greenwood up at Manchester United. He's pretty much been cancelled from football over what actually at this stage are just allegations that he sexually assaulted and raped a girl. He's found his career completely ruined. Now, I wouldn't want to make an equivalence between these two incidents, but they're both appalling crimes. And if Mason Greenwood's going to get cancelled from football, then I believe that Kurt Zouma deserves to at least fear a similar response.
Yeah, I think absolutely right. I mean, West Ham United think that this is something that they can deal with as if he's somehow been caught smoking behind the bike sheds. I mean, this is a serious crime. We in this country love animals, and I'm afraid, even in France they love animals. I mean, he's apologised. He's issued a statement as well in which he says he's very sorry. But, what sort of an individual would even think of doing such a thing? And the thing that really disturbs me is when you see the second incident when he slaps the cat's head, the cat appears to be being held up by a child.
Yeah, he slaps the cat out of a child's arm. So his kids obviously love the cat. They've got two cats, two Bengal cats. This was just one of them. So I think that the RSPCA for a kickoff has to fear for the welfare of those two felines and get them out of that house. Because this guy is not fit to be around animals. What you're looking at there is the behaviour of a kind of psychopath. That is cruelty. Yeah. It shows a complete lack of empathy with other human beings. This guy, Kurt Zouma, you might like to know, his middle name is Happy. And he was named after the Jean-Claude Van Damme film, 1989, called Kickboxer, in which Jean-Claude Van Damme played a character called Kurt Sloan. So he's clearly taken his kickboxer heritage to heart and now kicks cats all over his house.
Unbelievable. Here's his statement. I want to apologise for my actions. There are no excuses for my behaviour, which I sincerely regret. I also want to say how deeply sorry I am to anyone who was upset by the video. Well, i.e. everyone that watched it. I would like to assure everyone that our two cats are perfectly fine and healthy. Well, really? Well, they quite enjoy being slapped and kicked around the house, do they? They are loved and cherished by our entire family, and this behaviour was an isolated incident that will not happen again. I mean, who does he think he's kidding?
They were laughing their heads off, him and his brother. This was not an isolated incident, I'll guarantee you that. And he can apologise for all he's worth. But I'll tell you what they'll be thinking at West Ham. I counted them up. West Ham have got 22 major financial sponsors. All 22 of them will be thinking about their investment in West Ham right now. West Ham need to really, really distance themselves from this guy. Otherwise, it's going to cost them financially, and it's going to cost them a lot of goodwill. Football is changing. 10 years ago, Mason Greenwood would still be playing for Manchester United pending charges. If he was actually charged or found guilty, they'd probably say, well, he's a great player. He's a proven goal scorer.
But again, this is the problem, isn't it? I mean, the morality that doesn't exist in football. I mean, you couldn't get a wider chasm. It's changing. Man United have just proved that. They've basically ditched one of the greatest players in the world, one of the most promising players in the world, because they've realised that off pitch, he is not an acceptable individual to be part of Manchester United. Now, West Ham have got a similar decision to make here. Football is changing. It has been dragged kicking and screaming into the 21st century of morality, and I'm not sure that Kurt Zouma, as a player for West Ham, can survive this. And I mean, I suppose the French international authorities could have something to say about this as well, couldn't they?
Well, yes, indeed. I mean, he's a French international player. He's an extremely good defender, but footballers in today's world have got to be more than just great footballers. In the past, that's all they had to be. They could be an absolute scumbag off the pitch, and the clubs would go, oh, yeah, well, he's a proven goal scorer, he's a great defender, and they would stay. But things have changed, and just as Mason Greenwood has found out, you cannot be an appalling person off the pitch and deserve to play on the pitch. Kurt Zouma may find out the same thing. I think West Ham are in a process of discovery. They're going to find out that this is much worse than they thought it was this morning. Yeah. Their contention that we can deal with this internally is almost as pathetic as the RSPCA's contention that they're having a look into this and they don't like incidents of cruelty to animals. The RSPCA have got to pull their socks up about this, and so have West Ham.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. People are already messaging us with their support for this complaint.
Good talk.
Hot talk. Bold talk. Talk radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.